there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. Today is Friday, August 18th, and it has been roughly 2 weeks since my last Flosstube went up. And I feel like I got a lot done, but also I feel like I got nothing done. It's weird. I had some stuff that I really focused on, and then all my other projects kind of fell to the wayside. So I don't have a ton of whips, but I do have some finishes and some really good progress on a Sal and some other really cool stuff to show you as well. Or at least I think it's cool. Maybe you don't. And if you don't, then I don't know what you're doing here. Before I get into all of that though, really quick, I just wanted to say thank you to Sarah King and Cam the Stitcher for the shout outs on their channel. I have been doing YouTube for like 3 years now, and I didn't know, I just never noticed it, that there's like a tab on your YouTube interface that tells you when somebody has like added you in the description box. I don't know why I didn't know that. I just never paid attention to it, I guess. So Sarah King shouted me out quite a while ago, and I just didn't see it, but I have since seen it and I've been enjoying her channel. And then of course Cam the Stitcher, everybody knows who Cam the Stitcher is. She does a lot of like spooky, quirky, fun kind of stitching, and that's kind of a lot of the style of stitching that I like to do as well. So every time she posts a video, I'm like right there with bells on, and it was cool to hear her shout me out on her YouTube channel. So thank you for that, Cam. I've been watching a lot of Liz Matthews lately, so I guess I will just do what she does and give you guys a table of contents. So I am going to show you some of my finished objects. I don't have anything FFO'd yet. I need to get some stuff to FFO my stuff, but I spent too much on crafts this month. I gotta wait till September for that. So I'll show you my FFOs, I'll show you my whips, and then I have some haul, as well as I did dye some of my own fabric, so I wanted to show you guys that as well. And then I also wanted to tell you guys about some people that I've been watching and share them with you if you aren't, aware of them. I feel like there are so many Flosstubers out there. There's like an unending river of content, and I'm still running out of content because I've been eating up everything that the people I watch have been putting out, so I need more. So I want to share with you guys some of the ones that I've been enjoying, and I guess we can talk vague plans because I haven't been really sticking to the plans I made for August, and I think I was being too regimented, so I want to talk about that as well. So let's start with FOs. So if you guys recall, I have been doing the kind of like mini masterpieces stitches, and I did finish yet another one. This is the snail. I believe this is by Henri Matisse, but I cannot remember because, to be quite honest with you, I've never seen this painting before in my life until I got this like packet of mini arts. So I have at least 10 at this point, and I definitely want more, but I have decided to just take a little break. I've got other stuff I want to work on and other like tinier projects like this that I can bring with me on my lunch to work. That's what I do when I work in the office. I'm in the office 3 days. I tend to bring a small project like this size, and I work on it on lunch because, one, I don't want to cart a big project back and forth. I just don't want it to get dirty or something happen to it. But also, like these little projects, I only have an hour lunch. I mean, only. That's a decent size for lunch, but like it's only an hour I get to work on something, and I want to feel like I've made some progress in that hour. So these little projects are perfect for that. I just, these little mini arts, they are full coverage still. Like that's kind of a lot of stitches in this little tiny concentrated area. So I've decided to throw these on the back burner for now, try to FFO the ones I do have, and then sprinkle more throughout the year as I go, and maybe into next year as well. And then I've got some wall space. I've got a lot of wall space. I have so many walls in the home in which I live that I can put these on. I want to make a mini art gallery. So what I'm looking for specifically is kind of ornate looking frames. I'm going one of two ways. I either want a bunch of ornate looking frames, and I think probably like 2 by 3 inches is going to be the perfect size, or I want some very simplistic, just black border frames. And both of those I can find them in the 2 by 3 size. I found Michaels has a lot of those like black frames. I found some kind of more ornate frames from Walmart. The only problem is like the quantity I need, you know, it ramps the cost up. So like the plain black frames are definitely cheaper to buy in larger quantities, but I'm like, do I want to sacrifice the hilarity of having an insanely ornate a bunch of frames on my wall? Like, do I want to sacrifice that for saving a few dollars? I don't know. The other thing too is I wonder, because some of the art that I have, you know, they're not, I don't think that they were meant for ornate frames. You know, like, I just think that maybe that might be too much, or it might take away from some of the pieces. So I'm still trying to decide. I just don't know, because I don't want to take away from the art itself. I mean, not that like not the cross stitch, but like the actual like artist's vision. You know, do I really want to put Nighthawks in a gold ornate frame? I don't know. And I could mix and match frames, but my brain is telling me don't do that. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Should I just go plain frames? Because that goes with everything. And then they're also cheaper and easier to buy in bulk. Or do I just say screw it and go fully ornate with this one? But yeah, that's the snail. That one only took me like 3 days to stitch up. It was easy because it was just a bunch of little color blocks. So I feel like I'm getting faster at stitching too. I've been stitching a lot more, which probably helps. You know, it's practice. In that same vein, I also finished another one of my mini Star Trek stitches, which are going to be magnets when I'm done. I finished Picard last time, and now I have Riker, and I had to change the mouth a little bit because it's like, it's a weird little like V mouth on the pattern, and I don't know, like it just didn't, it felt weird to me. So on this one, I did my back stitching with 1 strand, and on Picard, for some reason, I did the back stitching with 2 strands. Don't ask me why, I do not know. And I also noticed I had a little oopsie with the Picard, like I just didn't take the red down far enough, but one of my friends wants a Picard, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give her this one, and then I'm just gonna do a second Picard, and like I know the lighting is like blowing out their skin tone, but like even if I take the lighting down, it still blows them out. So I don't know, maybe this is better lighting though. But I'll give this one to my friend, and then I will stitch another one and do a single strand back stitch so that it matches all the rest, and I will make sure that his uniform is correct. But like when it's just the one-off, you won't notice that it doesn't match. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to stitch him again. That's okay, I was already planning to. And then I'm gonna cut these out and whip stitch around them and glue them onto magnets when I'm done with all of them. There are 9 in total, and I'm just gonna give them to my dad when they're done, maybe. I don't know, I guess that's the assumption, but then again, I'm like, what is my dad gonna do with a bunch of magnets? Like, he's not a magnet guy. I don't know. But we used to watch The Next Generation together, so that's what I'm gonna do with those. My next FO was actually a start and a finish. I started it last Saturday, and then on Sunday I had like almost nothing left. I just got really tired on Saturday, and I ended up just having to be like, you gotta stop. But here it is. So this is, I'm pretty sure it's called Happy Spooky Ween, which is what it says down here below. This is on 16 count white Zweigart Ada, which I ended up Rit dyeing. I literally stitched this the same day I dyed this, because as soon as I finished dyeing it, I was like, okay, I really want to use these. And I ended up digging around. I was like, what patterns do I have that would go good with something like this? And this limey green, which it's like not showing up correctly on camera, but you can see it's way more limey in real life. And you can see there's some slight modeling to it. I didn't squunch up the fabric enough, so it didn't model the way I had expected it to, but I still really ended up liking this. And like I said, this was a very quick and easy stitch. This came from the Just Cross Stitch Halloween 2023 edition. I picked this up at Meijer, which I guess that's part of Haul, but still. I picked it up and it has so many fun patterns. There's like maybe 4 in it that I don't care about, and then the rest I'm like dying to stitch. But this one, it was like cute, and I like when patterns are broken up into a bunch of mini motifs sometimes. It's like good for your brain to just like really easily focus on one at a time. And it's just like a little jar filled with Halloween candies. So we've got some candy corn and the gross candy corn that's purple. I think it's called harvest corn. And then some like suckers here, which I heard in other states, y'all call them lollipops like all the time. To me, like a lollipop is one of those big, flat, rainbow circular suckers, but it's still like a sucker. It's just like a subgenre of suckers. But I have a friend from, my friend from California is the one who, they call them all lollipops, which I thought was interesting. And then we got a couple little Halloween candy canes and like, I don't know what these are. And then some eyeballs in the jar if you're hungry for eyeballs. But yeah, I debated leaving the words off or like changing it to say Happy Halloween. But then I was like, let's just do it as it is. But I had to frog the letters like 3 times because I kept misaligning them, and then I didn't make the H in happy wide enough, so it threw everything off. And it was just, I was getting so tired that I was like, all right, Hillary, just go to bed and then pull it out in the morning and just finish off the letters. So on Sunday, all I had left to do was to frog and restitch the letters for the 3rd time. But it's correct now, I think. Even if it's not, we're done. It's done. We're not doing any more. So in the book, so here's the picture in the magazine, and they did like a flat ornament finish, and I don't have everything you need to do that. Like, you need something to glue it, and all I have is industrial strength glue, which I feel like might be overkill. I think I have some mat board, and I know I have like batting, and then I have a bunch of fabric, so that's fine, but I need some kind of glue and some kind of like ribbon or twine to make the hanger, and then I'll make it into just a small ornament to hang off of like a door handle or something, because I don't know where else I would put it, but I thought it was cute. Okay, and then the last finish is not technically a finish. It's like a finished for now because it's part of a SAL. So I'm doing Sewing Starfish's Wizard Inventory SAL, the stitch along, and oh my goodness, oh my gosh, you can see right through it. I'll just put an entirely different piece of fabric behind it. So here it is. So the border and the wizard were released, and that's about 7,700 stitches. And this week, this has been my focus project. I've been working really hard because I wanted to get this done, because today, Friday, was the day of the first motif, the first pattern that was going to drop. And I was like, I know that I can work on the wizard as I go, but I would really like to be caught up and stay caught up. And so last night, late into the night, I finished the wizard. I put in the back stitching on his hat, which is a spider, and then there's like a little bit of back stitching on the salamander, or the gecko, I'm sorry, it's a gecko. And the only thing I didn't do was put in, there are French knots for eyes, because I need to learn how to do French knots, and I don't want the first French knots I attempt to be on this piece, so I want to do some practices first. And also, do French knots lay flat? I don't think so. So maybe I should do those last, because I feel like I'm going to be ironing this quite a bit here and there in between, because there's like 20 separate motifs, I believe. And then like the thing that I finished with last night was, bro, I can't even figure it out. Oh my gosh, it's right here. The staff, all of this is like confetti. And I was like, how do I stitch this in a way where, because there's definitely some traveling. I will show you guys the back. I'm not ashamed of my backs. But I was like, how do I stitch this in a way, because they're all very light colors, and this is Black Ada, and it'll peek through the holes if I'm not careful. So I was like strategically trying to stitch that. And then, oh yeah, I did the back stitching up here as well. It says, as above, so below. And that's what I finished last night. And then today, the very first motif dropped, and it is this dragon here, which, guys, I literally I woke up at 7 on accident. I don't know how, because my job, I don't work until 8:30 and I work from home on Thursdays and Fridays. So I laid in bed and I read for a little bit, and then I was like, you know what? Because I saw my email and I saw that the first motif had dropped. I was like, you know what? Let's just go start that. So I started it, and then I had an insanely slow day at work. So this is all I did. Well, I mean, I did my job, obviously, but I just, while I was monitoring my emails and waiting for anything to come in, I just worked on this. And it's a lot of red. This whole pattern is a lot of red so far. A lot of red in his robes. And then this was a lot of red. So I'm excited for the next motif to be a little bit less red. I don't hate the red. It's just, I want to see, because there's a lot of colors in this. There's like a bajillion colors in this pattern, and so I want to see some of those come in. But this just has like mostly full crosses, and then there's a little bit of back stitching here, and then there's some to define his jaw. My back stitching, I don't know if I'm pulling too tight, or if it's because I'm stitching 2 over 1 on 18 count, but I feel like my back stitching is getting lost in the sauce over here. It's getting like lost into the stitches. It's getting sucked up and buried. So if anybody has any tips on how I can improve my back stitching, I would really appreciate it, because I really want this to turn out nicely, and I don't want it to get like tarnished in my mind because I suck at back stitching. Like, I don't know why. Like, I'm afraid to do it too loosely, but I pull it too tight and then it gets lost. Oh, and the other thing too is here on either side of the word wizardry, there are these, they're called like Metatron cubes or something like that on the pattern. And those are backstitched, but I want to do like a full length backstitch. I don't want to do like each individual square as one line, because I feel like it looks kind of piecey. You can see with the spider I did like maybe 2 squares or 1 square depending, and it does look a little bit piecey, but it's also a spider web, so it's okay. But if you do that like with the lettering, then it makes it look a little bit broken up and like staticky, and I want to keep the strand like as long as possible. So I'm gonna put those cubes on last. They look like, what, like a dodecahedron or something like that at the top. That way they don't get too messed up as I'm like squunching this fabric up over and over as I'm stitching. So yeah, that was my last finish, which I finished like 30 minutes ago. And so now let's get into the whips. Oh, also, like here's the back, by the way. I literally just noticed, I was so excited to have finished it that I just didn't cut that. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so my first whip, I've been working on the Owl Forest embroidery cat and owl ornaments, and I've finished one. I have this guy right here, which I showed you in a previous video, but here he is again. There's 3 owls and 3 cats. So this is the first owl I did, and then I started the second owl last time, and he's got a needle just like dangling. But here's where I am on the second owl. I don't think I made much progress from the last time I showed you guys. In fact, I'm pretty sure all I added was this like blue. I started to put a strand in, and then I was just tired, and I was like, oh, I'll deal with this later, and then I forgot to pick it back up. So I gotta finish him before the month is out, because I gotta do at least one a month, and then that way I can FFO them and hang them on my Christmas tree. I also worked on Pavane for These Times by Long Dog Samplers. I only worked on it for 1 day. Here's the cover photo, and this one is my first huge, like more traditional looking sampler piece, and it's monochromatic, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing it on a Lugana, which is this is my first Lugana, my first even weave that I ever stitched on. And I didn't get too much further than the last time I showed you. The last time I showed you, I had just finished half of the first page. As you can see, not too much more. I added just kind of like this little motif here and here, and I think I finished some of this. And then there is a back stitch that needs to go down through here, but just like with the other one, I'm waiting until the end because I want it to be one big long strand, and I don't think that it will hold its integrity if I do it now and then I'm like because I'm stitching this in hand and I don't want to like have to scrunch it up and have that get ruined. So this is all I have for this, but the one thing I really love about stitching a piece like this, where it's a little bit more abstract, I guess you could say, or ones that use negative space to their advantage as well to create shapes. It's interesting as you're stitching it, you're up close and you're looking at the pattern and you're looking at this and, your eyes kind of blur out to the big picture. So when you stop to take a drink or you stop for the night or whatever, and you pull back and you look at it and you go, oh my gosh, there's actually a picture here. So that's kind of how it's been, where I've been just like stitching and stitching and stitching. And then I pull back and I look and I'm like, oh, hey, I actually made something. But this is the top of a big flower pot. There's going to be a big flower pot here and then like 3 separate flowers, this being one of them. And this is just a really nice chill piece. Like, surprisingly, even though it's got like a lot of like movement and blank space and moving around, it's not like filling in or anything like that. Because it's one single color, I'm just using 310 by DMC. I got these really cute floss drops. I was gonna call them a thread drop from somebody on Etsy. I'll have to put them down below. But like, I don't floss drop usually, but because this is like a single color, I was like, this is just an easy way to keep my stuff, But I really love this project, even though I didn't make as much progress as I would have liked so far this month. And I want to do more monochromatic projects, but I want to use variegated or a really nice hand-dyed, over-dyed floss. But I am nervous about doing something like that as well, because I don't know how much it would take, how much floss, and I feel like it's going to be a lot, and I feel like that's going to be expensive, which is fine. Investing in your projects is not a problem, but that's why I did this first, because I have a cone of DMC 310, like the big boy cone, the massive monster cone, and I just thought, if I end up not finding the process enjoyable, well, at least I didn't spend a lot of money on a really fancy floss and then waste it. But I'm enjoying this process. I'm really liking it. And so I'm looking forward to picking out a really nice floss and a really nice fabric. And I got to find a pattern that I want to do that with. But I've got a few ideas. My wish list of patterns is ever growing, so we'll see. My next whip was a lunchtime stitch. So I showed you guys the 2 Star Trek magnets that I finished. I ended up starting a 3rd and a 4th one, though I don't know why I started to. I think it was like I had run out of the red when I was at work, and so I just started putting some black on another one because I was like, I still have time and I still want to stitch. So I started Deanna Troi, and I got all of her jumpsuit that she wears. I just need to put in her hands and her face and stuff like that and finish her hair really quick. This took me like a couple lunch periods, and then I just decided I want to finish out my 2nd Picard that's going to go with like the master set. That will replace the one that I'm going to send my friend. And so I started that. And that way I can get all, because there's 3 of the red shirts. So we have Picard, Riker, and Deanna Troi. There's 3 of the yellow shirts. It's Worf, Data, and Geordi LaForge. And then, I guess there's only 8. I don't know why I thought there was 9. And then we have Wesley and Beverly Crusher. I always forget. I always want to call him Will Wheaton for some reason. Will Wheaton and his mom. No. Wesley Crusher and Beverly Crusher. And those 2 I'm going to save for last, because I am struggling to pick a color for Beverly Crusher's hair, because she has like red hair. And I don't know why. It's just really hard to get the right kind of orangey red balance to make it look a little more natural. So yeah, I started 2 more of these guys. And then my final whip is the birthday gift for my brother's girlfriend. So if you're watching, stop watching. This is called Yummy Bakery. I'm stitching it on 18 count fiber on a whim hand-dyed Aida in Lagoon. And I have made some decent progress, but not enough because her birthday is in October. So I'm pretty sure last time I showed you, all I had was this first motif and this chunk of the border done. And so I went in the other, like, I don't know, last week, before I was heavily focused on the wizard and couldn't stop doing anything but the wizard. And I went in and I did this lighter green inner border. This is like the outline of the bakery. And then I started the next motif, which is a rolling pin that has some flour or dough on it. It needs the handles. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep chugging along on this. I have the rest of August and all of September and like half of October to get this done and finished, so I can definitely do it, especially because I got the biggest part of the wizard done, so it's just a matter of each motif as it comes out now. And because I totally blew that first motif, like I was like, done, we're done with that. I feel like this is going to be my focus piece for the upcoming week and just really bust out a lot on this. But I love how soft hand-dyed Ada becomes, and so it's kind of a new fave. And I feel like this color that I picked, well, actually, I sent my boyfriend pictures of like 5 different Adas, and I was like, can you pick the color for me? Because he has such a good eye for like colors that go together, and so he ended up picking this out for me, and I just feel like it's going to go really well together. And I just got to find like a nice, cute frame to go with it. Something just really like subtle and like not super colorful, because I feel like this piece is really colorful and I don't want to take away from it. So that was everything that I worked on. Like I said, the wizard, I did most of the wizard just in the week. So, but I'm all caught up, and let's see how long that lasts. And then of course the spooky ween I started and finished. So like that was gonna be considered a whip, but you know. So before we get into haul and plans, I did want to let you guys know of a few Flosstubers that I've really been enjoying lately. I like when people, you know, give recommendations or like talk about the ones that they've been enjoying, because it helps me find some more. And I've been just loving having just unending content, so I wanted to talk about those. So first of all, Motor City Stitches. She's on Instagram and here on YouTube, and I think she only has 2 floss tubes out. She might have a third, but I really, really like her a lot. She's really funny, and I like she had my whole attention. Sometimes I like to throw videos on in the background and listen, but I wanted to watch everything she was showing. She was just like really goofy and fun, and it just felt like you're hanging out with a friend. And also, I also live in the Detroit metro area, so when she was like talking about stuff local to her, I was like, oh, I should go check that out. Oh, I should go check out that LNS that she mentioned. Like, so it's like a good resource for me, because I don't know any LNSs around here. Like, the best I have near me right now that I'm aware of is like Joann's, which isn't like, you know, it's not peak LNS. So I am looking to learn more from her. And she seems to stitch on a variety of things, and she was talking about how she made like needle minders and things like that. So it was really fun to watch. Another person that I watch pretty much everything she puts out is Artie of the Vintage Stitcher. And it's so interesting to me because she shows a lot, like she stitches, it seems like a lot of Christmas, a lot of primitive, like a lot of stuff that I don't stitch. Stuff that I previously wasn't really open to stitching. But I really, really enjoy, this sounds so weird, but I really like her voice. She's also, I believe, from Michigan, but judging by her voice, I think she's from the northern area of Michigan, which I just love listening to her. She's got like just a very sweet and warm and kind demeanor. And so listening to her talk, it's just like really comforting. And it just feels like you're hanging out with an old friend or family member. And so I really love listening to her. And she just has such a good sense of humor. I knew I loved her from like this, I think it was like the second video I watched of hers, where she was talking about how like she made a mistake in a project and she goes, oh, well, I'll just say it's primitive. And I was just like, that's such a good, like, she has just such a really good laid back, relaxed attitude that I wish I could have, but I'm very uptight. So I really, really enjoy watching her, and watching her has really opened me up to designers and types of designs that previously I never thought I would have liked, but now just watching her stitch on them and seeing them more and more, I'm starting to warm up to them, and I actually started stitching some Christmas stuff, and she's showed, there's this like all red piece that she's been showing, and I forgot the designer's name, but it's making me want to stitch something similar, so I don't know, I really like her. And then the last one for now, before we get into haul, is Phoebe Moon from I think it's Moonshine Stitchery. I know her from her nail polish channel because I am a nail polish YouTuber and I love nail polish. So that's how I found out about Flosstube originally, is she mentioned her stitching and then she created a Flosstube channel. And so I've been watching a lot of her, and I like her just because she's another like bubbly, upbeat personality. And I'm not that. I'm the very opposite. And so I really like people who are like that because, I don't know, it's just like, sometimes it's nice to bring some positivity in your life, even if it can't be you yourself who brings it in. And I like her. She's got some projects too that, just like Artie from the Vintage Stitcher, I previously never would have stitched on. Like, we have just completely different tastes. But I'm warming up to them, and I'm starting to see the value and the beauty in a lot more of these like primitive or like classical style pieces, if you will. So I really like her as well. And I will link those 3 down below so you guys can check them out if you haven't heard of them already. I mean, I think they're all pretty decently sized channels at this point, so I'm sure you've heard of them. But if you haven't, you know, they're down there. Okay, so the haul is kind of all over the place. One of the first things I bought this month was the Just Cross Stitch magazine. I had been kind of going back and forth on 1-2-3 Stitch, being like, oh, I kind of want it, should I buy it? But I wanted to be able to look through it before I decided if I was like, that's what I want. So I was like scouring my Joann's, but their magazine section has stuff from like last year in it. Like, they just don't, it's not well organized. Everything's everywhere. Stuff's been opened and ripped, and I don't know. I was just like, all right. And then we were at Meijer, which is, if you're not from the Midwest, a grocery store. And I saw this there, and I was like, well, hang on a second, Robert, I must look at this. And I made my boyfriend stop while I looked through the entire magazine, and I was like, yeah, that's for me. So I picked this up. There are so many patterns in this. Definitely worth, like, it's a little bit cheaper on 1-2-3 Stitch. I paid $10 for this. I think it's like 8 or 9 on 1-2-3 Stitch, but look at all these patterns. There's so many in so many different styles. There's like a mini Halloween Quaker, which is really fun. I know just the fabric I want to use. There's a bunch of like ornament type stuff, and then there's some bigger pieces. So I have a lot that I want to stitch from this, and I've already stitched one of them. So while I was there, I also bought some Rit dye. And I ended up dyeing some fabric that I had on hand, as well as some fabric that I picked up. So as you guys saw, I had the lime green, and I make these little tags to clip to my fabric so I know what's what. But this was a 16 count white Zweigart Ada, which I Rit dyed with a bright green. I don't remember the names of them because now I have so many Rit dyes, because you'll see. But yeah, so this was actually, it was a big like L-shaped piece because I had cut out a piece years ago and used it. And so I ended up dyeing the piece and then cutting it into 3 basically ornament cuts so that I could use them for, you know, just little bitty pieces. So there's that. This one's not as mottled as the other ones just because it, like I said, I had cut a piece out of it. So when I like squunched it up in the container, it wasn't as folded in on itself, so it didn't create all the beautiful modeling, but it is the perfect color for some fun Halloween pieces, which, as you saw, I utilized. And then I had this giant piece of 18 count that I had bought so that I could do the epic Pokemon cross stitch, and I just cut it down to size, and there was still this like length of it left, and it was not the best Ada. It's like, it came dirty. It was sealed in a package and it was filthy, like big scuffy dirt marks on the white fabric. So I figured, what better way to test? So these were the first pieces I actually dyed. And I figured, what better way to test than with crappy Ada that I don't care about if it lives or dies. And I tested it on it, and now I love this Ada, and now it's beautiful and perfect. and it's soft and pliable, whereas before it was hard and crunchy. So the first one I have is this. It's like a red. I just feel like this could be Christmas. It could be Halloween. I mean, it could be anything else, but like I just feel like this red is great for Christmas or Halloween, and the modeling turned out really nicely. I also did a green, and so this green actually started out as that lime green, and then I added like a touch of gray because I thought like, oh, I want to like tone it down a little bit, and it came out like this, and so it ended up being more like another Christmas or Halloween type, and I accidentally splattered like one piece of red on it, so I'll probably just use this side, but it just looks, it's such a grungy, gross green, and I love it. And then the third piece I did of the Kato is this purple, and it's just like a rich royal purple. I think I like this side the best. And I don't know what, I don't have any like instant plans for this, but I did get a Mothman pattern that I think might actually look really cool on this. So maybe I'll do the Mothman pattern on this. And then I had also bought some, it's like Artiste brand 18 count white Aida. This was sold at Hobby Lobby, which Hobby Lobby kind of freaks me out, and I don't love shopping there. In fact, I think this is only like the third time I've ever been in a Hobby Lobby. Do you know that they don't have hand scanners there? Like, they have to manually enter everything. That's kind of wild to me. But I went there just because I was bored and I wanted to walk around. And so I bought this white Aida and I dyed it. And this is like it's kind of a salmon-y pink. And I have some like summer-ween type pattern ideas for this one. And then I had a teal color, and I decided to use the teal, and I mixed some of the limey green with it, and this is what I came up with. And I didn't actually like this color until a recent pattern drop for the, like, they call it market or something like that. I'm not familiar with all the terms yet. I'm still learning. But there's this pattern called Assembly Required, and I'll pop it up here. And it uses this variegated DMC, and it's just like all these skeleton bones. And they use like a deep blue fabric, and the color really pops. And I was like, oh, maybe this might work for that. So we'll see. I might use this for that pattern. And then after I finished dyeing that was all the white Aida I had left. And I was like, man, that was really fun, and I want to do more. And now that I have an idea of how this works and the flow of things, I just want to do it again. And so I had to run to Walmart for something, and I decided to stop off in their craft aisle because why not? Did you guys know that they sell Aida for like less than half the cost of what Joann sells Aida for? My Joann sells these Aida tubes for like $5 or $6. These were $2.50 a piece at my Walmart. And the other thing too is, like, this is the DMC Charles Craft white Aida, and it's a 15 by 18 inch slice, and it's 18 count. My Joann's does not carry 18 count. I have to order it online, and I love 18 count. I don't know why, I just prefer it. I think it's the best count when it comes to Aida. 16 count, sure, I can handle that. 14 count, I'm like, very specific, but like if I can stitch it on 18 count, I will. So they had 5 tubes, and so I bought all of them because I'm going to dye these. And then while I was there on the end cap, they had a bunch of Rit dye, and it was on sale for $1.50 per dye. So I picked up all the colors I didn't have. So I have a gray, and then I picked up this black because I figured why not. And then they had navy blue and denim blue, which, did I need both? Probably not, but now I have them. I don't know what the difference really is. They look very similar. And then I got dark green because I have teal and I have lime green, but I love green. I just love the color green so much. And so now I have like a ton of different colors of Rit dye. I need more. I want to get the powder Rit dye because I want to try ice dyeing. It looks really cool. I want to try ombre. I want to try all these different dyeing techniques. I don't know. It's exciting. I'm obsessed. I didn't know that this was going to happen to me. Oh, I bought some thread magic at Hobby Lobby too. I haven't used it yet, obviously, but I want to because I'm going to be using this for any metallics and probably the glow in the dark and stuff like that. I've heard this will really help me. And then the last thing, well, I did get, like I said, I got this Mothman pattern that came from my Stitch Sprout Patreon subscription. So I got that through that. And I'm thinking maybe I'll stitch that on my purple fabric. That might be cool. Might be cool on the green though. I don't know. Tell me what you think. And then I got 3 patterns from Top Knot Stitcher. And then I got a few more patterns from Top Knot Stitcher that haven't come yet. So I'll show you those when they come, but I guess maybe I can just pop up the picture. So the main pattern that I wanted, and the whole reason I placed this order is because of Spaghetti Western Sampler. This was on my wish list on 123 Stitch, and then it went out of stock, and it made it look like it wasn't coming back into stock. And I needed this pattern. It's so fun. It's like filled with pasta. I don't know. It's just like a pasta sampler that says yeehaw on it. And I needed it. And so I frantically Googled and I found it on Top Knot Stitcher. And so I was like, well, you can't just order one, right? And so I picked up another one of the Snowman Collector series. This one is the Postman. Very likely I will collect them all. I'm not really collecting them in order because right now I'm stitching the clown and I don't know, like there's something about this big bike wheel that I was like, I want to stitch that. And then all this nice red looked really pretty. They just released the Pirate, which I gotta have that one. I gotta. So that'll probably be the next one I buy, which like fully out of order. I don't know. Like, I don't know how long they stay in production. I don't think that they would stop printing them yet because they're still coming out. So, but I'm just paranoid. And then as kind of a afterthought, I threw this one in as well. This is the Birdman Cometh. This is one that I have wanted for quite a while. It is stunning. The colors are just really pretty. And it's just such a crazy looking piece. Like this rabbit is like on fire. The house is on fire. It's like separated here. Like there's a lot going on that I just don't fully understand. And I love that. And it stitched on the red. I'm definitely going to stitch it on a red fabric. It just looks really, it makes everything pop. So it's a Weeks Dye Works. I don't know if I will use that one, but I will find a red fabric. I think Cam the Stitcher is stitching this on one called Lipstick by a different dyer. And so I might pick that up and just copy her. So yeah, that is my haul. Oh wait, no, I got a few more things. Hang on a second. I will pop up pictures as I tell you about this. So these won't ship until like early September because this was a pre-order, but I grabbed Assembly Required. This is by Ink Circles. It's the one I was telling you I want to stitch on that kind of deep blue fabric. And I just think it would be cool to use like a variegated floss. I still haven't really done that. At least not with this level of variegation. So I picked that one up because I thought it would be a quick and easy stitch. And then I saw this. This is Snow Angel by Rebel Stitcher Designs. It was just really cute. I couldn't pass it up. And so it's like a Yeti making a snow angel. And I was like, he's so precious. I just love him. I want to give him a little pat. And so I had to buy that one. And then this one, when I saw it, I about threw up. I was like, this is so cute. I want to scream. It is Tomato Santa by Lucy Beam. It's a Tomato Santa. Like, what do you need? What do you need? You don't need anything else. You just need the Tomato Santa. It's so funny. Like, why? How did you come up with this? It's so funny to me. I love it. I cannot wait to stitch it. And instead of, like, I think it just uses DMC. And I was like, no. We have to do something fun for this Tomato Santa. So I ended up ordering some classic Colorworks, and I'm hoping that these work. I just kind of looked at the pattern, and then I was like looking at the skeins online and being like, I hope that this kind of vaguely does what I want. But I got 4 classic Colorworks. I got Ribbon Red. I got Bing Cherry, and those will be the tomato and the hat, I believe, respectively. I got Lighthouse, which is like a white, which I figure can be used for like the part on his hat. And then I also got one called Steamed Broccoli for the green. And then the eyes and the mouth are black. And I'm like, I'll just use DMC for that one. Like, I don't need a variegated thread for his eyes and his mouth. But everything else, we got something fun planned. And I just got to pick a fabric. I think I have something that I can use. But if not, my birthday's coming up in September, so I'll use birthday money to buy more fabric. So yeah, my plans are really loosey-goosey right now. I think that my main plans are to keep caught up with my sal that I'm doing, and then really make some good progress with Yummy Bakery because, like I said, that's a gift. And just keep pumping out those mini, tiny, stitchy smalls on my lunch breaks so that I can have all those magnets done, have all the ornaments done, make more tiny arts. Like, I just really like the little projects that I can stitch. I sit in my car like a loser on my lunch break because people bother me at my job. They like want to talk about work on lunch, and I'm like, no, I'm not being paid. Why are we talking about this? So I just go and I sit in my car and I listen to a podcast and I cross stitch. And I actually, I have a huge truck. I bought my dad's truck from him. So I'm like sitting in this giant Silverado, drinking a Red Bull and like cross stitching and like listening to podcasts, and like people are staring at me like, that girl's weird. So yeah, that is everything I have for you today. I have to clean up this mess now, and I have to go film some videos for my other channel, and I have to go edit those videos and this video and make dinner, and I have to go pick up my car because it's at the bell tire because I ran over a screw and I popped the tire. So I got a lot to do. So that is going to be it for me. I will see you guys in a couple weeks to show you hopefully progress and maybe if I can get a glue gun. So that's going to be it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.